Hi everyone, Mrs. Bilo here. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to do the two picket fence problems in the cells review practice. So remember, when you're doing a picket fence, you want to start by making a list of all the equalities. So what equals what? And make sure you have like a number with a label or a unit, and that's equal to another number that has a unit or a label. And there will be something that is not equal to, like, you don't know what the number is, but it has a unit, and that's equal to something else, and that's going to tell you how to start your picket fence. So let's go ahead and jump into question number 3 here to go over those steps. So I'm going to start by reading through the problem. And it says 245 ATP molecules are needed to make 43 phospholipids. So right there, those two numbers, they're equal to each other and they have units. So 245 ATP is equal to 43 phospholipids. I'm just going to abbreviate with PL for phospholipids. You are welcome to abbreviate certain units, so you're just not writing out the full name and taking a little bit longer to do the problem. Okay, so those two are equal to each other. And then it says, how long will it take in hours to form enough ATP required to produce 23,000 phospholipids? So I can see that I have 23,000 phospholipids, but I don't know what that's equal to. That's not equal to another number because it says, how long will it take in hours? I don't know how long in hours. So you can write that as X hours, or you can write it as question mark hours. But we don't know how many hours it will take to make 23,000 phospholipids. So this part here is important because this is going to help us determine what to start our picket fence with. And then if I keep reading, I see it also says if the speed of production is 27 ATP every 3 minutes. So that means 27 ATP is equal to 3 minutes. Now you probably think, okay, I have everything. Well, yes, but I'm noticing there are units of time. I see hours and minutes, so make sure you pay attention if you see hours and minutes in a problem. And this is something that you would intuitively know. So I know to make hours and minutes equal, I know 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. And that's something I would just know. Now I have everything I need to start my picket fence. So you're always going to start with your picket fence with whatever this thing, what you're solving for, X hours. That's what we're looking for. Whatever that is equal to, that's what you're going to start your picket fence with. So we're going to start with 23,000 phospholipids. Because ultimately, by the time I'm done with my picket fence, I should have hours for my answer. I'm basically trying to take phospholipids and convert it into hours, which are two totally different units. So that's what I'm starting my picket fence with. So I'm just going to go ahead and cross that off. So now, whenever you're doing your next step for the picket fence, whatever unit is here, write that same unit here in the bottom. So I'm going to write PL for phospholipids. Now I'm looking at my 3 options. These are the things that get plugged into the picket fence because we know that they're equal to each other. So I'm noticing here I see a 43 with the phospholipids. So I'm going to write that in the bottom. And if I put that in the bottom, whatever goes above it, it must be equal to that, which in this case is 245 ATP. Phospholipids cancel, those units cancel, and now I've converted into ATP. But I don't want ATP for my final answer, so I have to keep going. And again, I'm going to repeat the same process. If I see the units ATP here, I'm going to write the units ATP in the bottom. Well, I can see here 27 ATP, that number with that unit, and that is equal to 3 minutes. So 3 minutes must go above that because those two are equal to each other. Same thing that I did here, those two are equal to each other. That's why they can be written above and below each other. And then ATP, those units will cancel. So now I'm in minutes, but I want my final answer in hours. So I have to keep going. Okay, repeat the process. Minutes in the top, minutes must go here in the bottom. 60 minutes. And that is equal to 1 hour. Minutes cancel, and I'm just left with hours, which is what I wanted my answer in. So by the time you're done with your picket fence, all the units should cancel in the top and bottom besides the unit you wanted your answer in. And then also anything that was written above and below each other that you plugged into the picket fence must be equal to each other. So now we're going to go ahead and do the math. So for that, we're going to multiply everything in the top, multiply everything in the bottom, and then divide. So in the top, I'm going to do 23,000 times 245 times 3 times 1, which isn't relevant. And I'm going to get this really big number. And you can go ahead and write that down. I'm actually just going to continue the calculation in my calculator. Just make sure you're being careful with order of operations. And I'm going to divide, so I'm going to use my parentheses to multiply everything together in the bottom. If I wasn't using parentheses, that would mess up the order of operations. So in the bottom, I have 43 times 27 times 60, and then I'm going to close the parentheses. And again, if this isn't something you're comfortable with, just do the two calculations separately and then divide. Enter. And I'm going to round 2 decimal places. So 242.67, and it looks like that 7, there's an 8 after it. So I'm going to round that 7 up to an 8. So this would be 6/8, and then my final units are hours. And that would be my final answer. Let's do another problem. A koala eats 6.8 pounds of eucalyptus leaves in each day. So it says 6.8 pounds. I'm going to abbreviate LB is pounds. And it says each day. If you see something like each or every, that just means one day. So this is equal to 1 day. And then it says, how much eucalyptus in kilograms can the koala eat in 3 weeks? I don't know how much in kilograms. That's what I'm solving for. So I'm going to write that as X. Remember, kilograms is kg. Or you could also write question mark kg. I'm going to write X kg. Would the koala need to eat? So this is equal to 3 weeks. And I'm going to abbreviate weeks with WK for weeks. And then it looks like I was provided another equality here. 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. If it's something that I don't expect you to have memorized, I would provide it to you. Now again, I'm also, when pay attention to units of time, I see days and weeks. So I need to have those equal to each other. Well, I know there are 7 days in 1 week. And that's something that I know. Now we have everything we need to start our picket fence. Again, you're always going to start your picket fence with whatever this X kilograms, what we're solving for, whatever that is equal to. So we're going to start with 3 weeks. And ultimately, by the time we're done with our picket fence, we're going to have converted 3 weeks into kilograms. So I'm just going to cross this off so I know I used it. Again, if I have weeks here, weeks must go in the bottom. And I'm looking at my 3 equalities that I know, okay, this equals this. And I see over here I have 1 week. So I'm going to write 1 week, and that is equal to 7 days. I'm going to cross that off. Weeks cancel in the top and bottom, and I'm in days now, but I want my final answer in kilograms. So I have to keep going. Okay, again, days are here. Days must go in the bottom here. And I'm looking at my options. I see 1 day here, so I'm going to write 1 day. Day or days, they're both units for day. And then that is equal to 6.8 pounds. And days will cancel. But again, I want my answer in kilograms, so I have to do one more step. Now I'm going to use this guy here that was provided to me. Pounds are in the top here, so pounds must go in the bottom here. And according to this, we have 2.2 pounds, and that is equal to 1 kilogram, which would go above it. Pounds cancel. I'm just left with kilograms. That's the only unit that's not canceled out, and that's what I wanted my answer in. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the math for that. So I'm going to multiply everything in the top first. 3 times 7 times 6.8 times 1, which isn't relevant, equals 142.8. And then I'm going to divide it by everything multiplied together in the bottom, which is pretty easy because it's 1 times 1 times 2.2, which is just 2.2. And I'm going to round this 2 decimal places. So I have 64. I have 90. Note that after this 0 there is a 9, so this 0 is going to round up. So this would be 91 kilograms, so 64.91 kilograms.